Good evening. Welcome to the May 18th, 2022 meeting of the Laconia Conservation Commission. We start the meeting off with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a quorum tonight. I'm Dean Anson.
Deb Williams.
Bob Harrington.
Lisa Moran.
Michael Foot.
Stacy Susie. Joe Herdegel.
Okay. And we have guests. So we'll amend the agenda and we'll start with 144 Lake Street so that we don't tie you guys up.
You want me to explain what we want to do and why we want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. When we built the cottage, maybe about 20 years ago now, we put a deck on that was, let's see, 9 by 12. And the deck was kind of small, but we did it for a reason. But our cottage and our neighbor's cottage is a very narrow area there, and people would back down to launch their jet skis and stuff. And if we had made the deck bigger, it would give them a problem getting out. But quite a few years ago, the association said you can't launch anything from there. In fact, they put a little area with blocks and stuff to keep the sand back on the beach and stuff. So that was fine. We got along with it. But our grandkids are now adult size. And before they could scoot under the table and stuff. Our table's probably about 5 feet round. And we find now that it's really difficult. If somebody wants to use the bathroom or go in the cottage or get a drink, somebody's got to move their chairs. And so we'd like to square it off. Building is 17 feet wide. So we'd like to bring the deck out to the width of the building and extend it out 2 feet, which would make it a lot better for us as far as being able to move around on the deck and not have to have somebody get up and move their chair and everything. And we found out during COVID that we couldn't even have anybody up on the deck and be 6 feet apart. I don't expect that's going to come around again. I hope not. But the real reason is it just would make it easier for us when we have company and stuff to get around. I know there's a ditch there, and that ditch wasn't even on the map a few years ago. I don't know when it got put on, but it is there, and it's a drainage ditch that comes from the mobile home park across. It's really in Guilford, and it drains down, and it dries up in the summer. And we planted some rose bushes and stuff along there because it's not very pleasant to look at it when it's dry. And when things get blowing around, the rose bushes and such will kind of catch it from going in the water. So we'd like to increase the size of the deck so it would be 11 by 17, which would make it a lot more comfortable for us to move around on the deck, and it wouldn't be a lot different than all the other cottages have. And as I said, we made it smaller than we should because we were trying to accommodate people getting their jet skis down, but that's not a situation now, so we'd like to have it increased. I'm Bob Draper, by the way, and this is my wife, Louise. Is there anything I missed?
Are there any drawings for this?
I'm sorry?
Are there any drawings for this?
On the agenda, the third link under 144
Well-
Lake Street is a quick sketch.
Thank you. I get it.
there is one more reason too. You know, we've gotten to the age where we don't swim, do any of that. The jet ski sits out there, waits for grandkids to come and stuff like that. So the deck's really become an extension. Our camp's only 400 and some odd square. It's a little teeny place, so, you know. So we use the deck a lot. And we're actually finding it's more, that's where we're spending more time, because.
So you're really just bringing it out to be in line with the existing building,
Right,
Yeah.
unit number 17?
Yes.
yes.
Right, and how much is that extension now? How wide is that? 17 it'll be overall, so is it 2 feet on either side or a foot?
No, it kind of, in the back, there's maybe 2 feet. And then in the front of the deck, I think I figured it was like about a yardstick long there. And then we're going to bring it out to the side a little bit to even it off, so when we put the steps, they won't be where they are now. They'll be over, make it a little nicer. Easier for people to go by.
It's really going to increase the width by 5 feet, which is the width of our cottage.
Right, so it's not going out past the width of the cottage?
Oh,
No.
no.
Are the steps going off to the side or the front?
They're going off to angle them. They're angled now, and we're going to just angle them a little bit more so that, you know, so people, when going down to the beach and stuff, don't end up,
So it's at the front.
right, so they're not in front, yeah.
I don't know if you can picture it, but the steps.
So I'm looking at your drawing, and are the steps where the 11 is or where the 17?
It's where the 17 is.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
It's where number 17.
I-
So, and by putting the steps at an angle, it makes it so we can see
Oh,
the
I
wall.
meant the 17 handwritten. There's a 17.
With to
Oh.
the side or the end.
There's a, Stacy, if you go to, what's this called? If you go to the
Yeah, well, I've got
application.
this. I didn't know if that,
Oh,
I
the
didn't know if that's what
photo
he
of the
meant.
building?
Yes, that's
But,
Yeah, you go
I
down to
saw
the,
that, but I couldn't
So
figure out
if you-
where the stairs were.
it looks like the pink is the deck.
Right.
The purple is the house, and so on the right-hand side, upper right-hand side, you can see where it says 4. I think those are the stairs.
Oh, I see. So you're going to maintain that same angularity
Yeah,
coming off
yeah.
the,
Yeah, we're going to maintain the same shape of it.
So it's not going to actually be 11 by 17, because we're going to have an angle where the steps would come down that are going to face the beach area there.
Actually, it faces the lawn.
Much the way it is now, only it's going to be a little bit bigger.
You said there was a ditch that runs next to it?
Yeah,
On which side?
the Margate side, towards the Margate.
The line that says stream there is, it's,
It's really not, it's really a ditch.
yeah.
And that's what it is, and in the summer it dries up and it just, sometimes it even smells.
So you're gonna be building into that ditch?
No, God, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
No.
But along it, I planted trees and shrubs, and I planted those real picky roses and stuff like that to try and, that way we don't have to look,
Look at it.
We don't have to look at it when it's all dried up.
you know.
Great. I didn't know if your deck was extending to that or
No,
not.
no.
Okay.
Looks like your deck is extending toward Paugus Bay.
Say that again, I'm sorry, I have
It
hearing.
Yeah,
looks-
well,
Just a
it,
2 feet, I think?
yeah. Our cottage sits kind of kitty corner, so, actually, it kind of extends to the cottage, because in front of us, because there's a cottage that sits right in front of us, so the deck goes right out towards, I mean, we're looking at his wall, so.
Well, this lady here was showing me a picture of.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know,
okay.
what I have here.
All right,
Which shows how the
okay.
cottages are.
okay. Thank you. Okay, anybody have any other questions?
so on this here, you're just looking to expand your deck to square it off with the line of the building as it exists.
Yes.
That's it.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept, our application here for 144 Lake Street for an expansion of their deck at unit number 17 at 144 Lake Street. It seems like they need a nod from shoreline protection, so that being a part of it, being that they get any permits needed, I don't see why they shouldn't go forward.
I'll second that.
Okay, anybody have any additional comments? Questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you for hearing us.
Hurry up and get it
Enjoy
done
it.
before summer.
Oh, we got one more meeting we have to go to
Oh,
after
that's
this in
right.
June, so.
Okay,
Yeah, no, actually, it's a condominium, so we have our rules when you can
oh
build,
my
you
God,
can't
yes,
build.
right.
But we do have permission to build it. so
Okay,
That's
great.
good. Thank you, guys. We
Thank you, you
appreciate
have a
it.
good day.
Thank you.
Enjoy the summer.
Thank you, you too.
You know, if I do this one more time. Okay. So the next item is 224 Endicott Street East.
Do you have copies of the plans and all in your packets?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I have extra paper copies if anybody would like one, rather than looking at their little screen. It's up to you. Good evening, my name is Randall Shuey. I'm a wetland scientist with North Point Engineering down in Concord. We've been working with Ram Claridon LLC for a couple of years now on this project. This project or property has actually been before the Conservation Commission a couple times. I think about 2 years ago, I was here discussing this and saying we're building 4 duplex units, 2 buildings, and we're not impacting any wetlands, but we were within the wetland buffers. And as I understand it, the conditional use permit for small wetlands has gone away. Am I correct in that?
For the size of the wetlands
Yeah.
on this property.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So, I didn't look at that change, but that's what I was told, and they asked me to come here tonight and just present the wetland application. So the owner of the project has decided that they'd like to build 2 more duplex units, 1 more building. That would be units 5 and 6 as shown on the plan. And in order to do that and put it on this property, something's got to give. If you're familiar with this site at all, I don't remember if anybody did a site walk out there. It's got some steep grades on it. It drops fairly quickly on the high end on the southwest corner and then drops down towards the center of the lot where there's the larger of the 2 wetlands. That wetland collects a little bit of drainage off of Endicott Street East, as well as a culvert that comes under the road. When that gets a little bit full, it flows down to another flat spot, which is the second wetland that we're proposing to impact. And some of it collects there, and then it just kind of meanders its way further downhill. In order to construct this site, there needs to be an additional driveway heading off to the back area. The design team met with the TRC and made a couple of changes to the stormwater management plan. You'll see that there's for such a small site, there's a fairly detailed management plan directing the water, making sure that it's not going downhill and concentrating and impacting any downstream neighbors or downslope neighbors, and avoiding wetlands to or impacts to the larger wetland on the site in the center. That wetland is the only wetland on the property or the only area directly on the property that still has any forested area to it. So it's got a little bit of value. It is surrounded by and going to be surrounded by development, but it was always going to be fairly tight in there no matter what. And so we're proposing to do a minimum impact expedited permit to fill that lower wetland. That's 702 square feet. And tonight I'm just looking to see if I can get your signature on the applications so we can move this forward. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You've already built the 2 duplexes up close to Endicott Street East?
Yeah, in the design sheet, there's an as-built plan. The sheet one, the first sheet past the title page shows what the existing conditions look like. And so yeah, it's the first two buildings, units 1, 2, 3, and 4 are built. I'm not sure if they're completed construction at this point or not, but they're all framed in and enclosed, so they're just finishing up if they're not finished yet.
Where is your other driveway going to come in again?
It's going to come in, so there's one driveway entrance off Endicott Street, which heads directly towards Unit 1 and 2,
Yep.
and then it takes an immediate right. And then just past the large wetland in the center, it's going to shoot straight back into the property and to connect to Units 5 and 6, so there's going to be a little intersection there.
All 6 units sharing the single driveway.
Yes. Yes.
So on this one drawing that is,
I see where it is here.
sheet 1 of 1, it says a photo key exhibit. There, it doesn't show 5 and 6, but it shows it looks like a stone wall that separates 1 and 2 from the wetland, is that right?
Is that sewer? What you're seeing there?
Which photo are you looking at?
I'm looking at,
Photo 3? Picture 3?
no, I'm looking at, it says sheet 1 of 1.
Yeah, the photo key exhibit, I've got that.
Okay, yes, that's right.
And what's the question again? I'm sorry.
So the question is, between the wetland and units 1 and 2, is that a stone wall?
Yeah, there's a stone, there was a stone wall in there originally.
Still there.
Okay, so you're proposing to fill in wetland 1, which is between the two units that have been approved.
Only a small corner of wetland 1, not like the whole thing?
No, we're proposing to fill in, how did we identify this? The smaller of the two wetlands, the wetland that's on the east side of the property, which will be between units 3 and 4, which are constructed in the two new units, the smaller of the two wetlands.
Oh, the one that's labeled number 2, is that right? Is it
Yeah,
wetland number 2?
those numbers are just the photo locations.
Oh, okay,
I'm sorry, now I understand where the confusion's coming. Yeah, those are just the photo locations, and the triangle points the direction of the photo. So if you take a step back in the application, you'll see the photos that those are associated with. Just to give you an idea which direction where we were and the direction we were taking that photo.
okay.
So the wetland on the high side of the property.
Is going to remain. So
This is the lower side?
everything
trying to
flows from the southwest corner to the northeast corner, or the east side of the property.
Okay. I'm trying to think of this lot. I feel like it flows the other way, but.
So what is it that is making the wetland here? Is it bedrock?
I think there's a pan layer in the soil in general to hold it up a little bit. And most of the hydrology for this is just the drainage coming down through the watershed. I think it's somewhat augmented because of that culvert crossing under Endicott Street, but I think it's fairly natural. Just a little seep area where the slope is flattened out enough to allow it to pond in the springtime. It will saturate, not really pond much water.
So it's a wetland, it's not a vernal pool?
Not a vernal pool. In the third photo, in the photo site, you'll see it is ponding a little water there. And that's because the way they constructed the sewer lines, they put some fill on top of it. and so it's ponding a little bit more water than it used to. When I first delineated it back in 2020, but I don't think that water's gonna stay there very long. I don't think it's gonna be there long enough to create like a new vernal pool or anything.
So when you do this, do you dig down to this hard pan or whatever it is and remove it? Remove the hard pan?
No, the hard pan's throughout the whole property, it's not just in the wetland. They'll excavate out where they need to and put fill back in, and either fill from the site or some other fill, depending on what they're doing for the excavation. Scrape off the topsoil, the A horizon, the dark soils, and then they'll fill over top of that, but they don't necessarily have to dig all the way down to the hard pan, which isn't too far anyway, so.
Is this city sewer and water up there?
Yes.
In the memorandum that we received dated May 12th from Department of Planning, they said at the TRC review, they had 2 comments. One of them was a landscaping plan, and the other was consideration of other drainage.
Yeah, I believe we've modified the drainage, the plan you have shows a modified drainage to meet the TRC requirement. And we did have, and I'm trying to see if it's in your packet or not. There is a sheet called the Amended Landscape Plan. And the only landscaping they're proposing coniferous plantings along Endicott Street. And then they're showing just some shrub plantings at the entrances of the 3 buildings.
So Taylor, I don't think we have that amended, that landscaping plan.
Yeah, so, I spoke with Jeff Lewis, and he told me, who is one of the engineers on the project, he didn't include the landscaping plan yet because he wanted to see what everyone's input was. I had originally suggested, some landscaping to the right of the larger wetland, so it could mitigate anything running off from units 5 and 6. But they were gonna put that together after I send them the comments tonight.
Thank you.
So you received a permit to fill in the wetland in 2004. Are you filling in the same wetland?
Yeah, so in 2004, there was a proposal to build 12 units out here. It's a big loop road, and they were gonna fill the exact same wetland that we're proposing to fill now.
Okay.
But that wetland that development never happened.
What's your total impact on the wetlands, even if they are exempt?
702 square feet. Which I just was looking at, that number is actually missing from the application form, so we'll add that number. But it is on the plan set.
Sheet 2 of 7. Tom?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Built in the same style, of course.
Yep.
Anybody have any other comments?
Would there gonna be a barrier, for wetland 1?
What sort of, I don't think they're planning any barriers, or
Like a split rail fence or anything?
they don't have anything like that planned. So it could be part of a landscaping plan. I'd certainly put it in. I was looking at this and talking with Jeff about the landscaping plan and what might happen on that right side of the larger wetland. And my only concern of doing a lot of planting over there is that if anything we do over there may be impacted just by normal casting of snow on the side, not necessarily pushing it off to a snow pile, but, you know, when you angle the plow and you just drive in, they may angle it in that direction. I'd like to see that they don't, but I'm not in charge of maintenance 10 years down the road, and so it may be one of those things where we do some shrub plantings that are fairly tolerant of being abused. They grow back pretty quick, and then maybe some kind of limited mowing in that section. So it would be like kind of a meadow planting where we'd mow it once a year or twice a year. That would provide both a little bit of increased habitat value and some water quality value to that wetland. So that would be my suggestion.
And how far away is that proposed driveway from Wetland 1?
It's
At the closest?
scale 20 feet. Boy, it's about 10 feet, I'm thinking. There's a little swale in there that's gonna pick up the runoff from the road so it doesn't go into that wetland. There's a little swale proposed that takes that water that's on that, what would be the downhill side of that wetland anyway, and moves it to the stormwater measure that's to the north of the large wetland.
So the impact on the wetlands is, there are essentially two impacts. One is filling in the 702 square feet, and the other is you're going to be within the buffer of the wetland number 1. Is that right?
Yeah, but I think it's an exempt buff.
It's
It's
an
exempt.
exempt wetland. It's too small to be considered for our buffer requirements. So we can't dictate that buffer zone anymore.
Right, but can't we ask that the applicant be mindful?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're discussing. They do have erosion controls plan there, and that's just a discussion about the landscape.
Yeah, and stormwater measures keep the dirty driveway water off of that wetland, so treat it before it interacts there. I think that's the intent of this design anyway, and then adding some additional plantings or additional notes within that landscape plan may be appropriate.
Okay. And is this going to be a condominium association, or are these private residences?
I believe it's a condominium. Yeah, it says condominium right on the title.
Says so right there. Can't,
I think it's right.
yeah, I'm with you.
In your opinion, do you feel a paved driveway is better than dirt?
Yeah,
Because
washing
it's so
there.
close?
living on a gravel driveway, yeah, there's a lot more runoff, especially if there's any kind of slope on there at all. You're gonna get stuff coming off the road. It's gonna be, you know, every so often, they're gonna have to come back in with new gravel surface and regrade it. And so, yeah, paving it would be better, and I think they have the intention of paving it.
Yeah, I saw it
Yeah.
paved. I've always wanted to ask a scientist, when it's that close,
'Cause-
which
'cause
is?
My driveway at my house slopes all the way down to the road, and about every 3 years, we have a big storm, and there's a big, not puddle, but there's a washout of my driveway into the town road and into the town roadside ditch.
Got you.
And I haven't
okay.
fixed that yet, but, so yes, it's an issue, if it's just a gravel driveway. And I think, you know, for the price that these things are going for, that housing's going for now, I think people are gonna expect it to be paved anyway. I don't think
You
it's
know
a backcountry road, so.
It would seem to me that it would reduce the amount of materials that were washed if it were paved.
Yep.
So it'd be better for the downstream at
Yep.
that.
I would suggest porous pavement if possible. That would be one of my suggestions.
So the only problem with porous pavement is there's a real maintenance issue with it. And I'm not sure I'm not sure how far that's gonna go, but feel free to make that recommendation. That goes to the planning board. That would be a planning board decision. That's not really part of the wetland application. But all these things about landscaping and porous pavement and treatments, I think, are good things to have them discuss at the planning board.
So if you fill in this smaller wetland, where's that water gonna go?
It's gonna continue to go where it's always gone, which is downslope to the east. We're spreading it out a little bit. There's a,
Because aren't there condominiums down on the
yeah,
next?
but the water's, the system's been designed so there's no increase in flow. Same volumes going down slope, and it's basically, when it gets below that wetland, there's a level spreader, so the water gets spread out across the slope, and is not a concentrated flow down the slope.
Sheet 4 of 7 has a detail on some
I'm
of that.
sorry?
Sheet 4 of 7, I think, has a
Okay.
detail on that. Well, I could be wrong, but I think that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that dark area is, so that's a fill slope, a graded fill slope. And as my erosion control hat kicked in, I said, you're gonna wanna put an erosion control blanket on there. And I also suggested that they, put some compost socks across there, just to help further break it up. And those are long-term measures that will stay in place. You can actually seed the compost sock and they'll grow,
Yep.
so.
So you're gonna use silt socks?
Yeah, compost socks.
Okay. Okay, anybody have any other questions? Comments? Anybody want to make a motion?
Is everybody comfortable with this?
Um,
Anything to say?
I think with our motion, that we would include a list of suggestions,
All right,
so.
Okay, so what are the suggestions? Silt socks?
Silt socks during construction. How do you feel about silt socks surrounding your whole development? Have you ever run into a community that requests that?
Every time I work in Massachusetts, and I think it's a waste of money. You're putting it on the uphill side of the development and it's not protecting anything.
Okay, so maybe not surrounding the whole thing, not the uphill